Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today I'm going to respond to Mikey from Hellstorm Wargaming because he has nominated / challenged me to do a thing. It's like a response thingy, like a nomination thing, where he's done a video because Winter's talked about him or challenged him, and then he's doing it to me because he's responded to that. Do you remember that age of YouTube where you would watch a video and then the suggested videos would just be replies to that video? It's like that, except not really anything like that. It just reminded me of that, and I don't know why. More like those Facebook chain status things. It's like and comment if you enjoy beef residue sandwiches or something, and tag 3 of your friends. More like, I don't use Facebook either. These are terrible examples. What is this intro? Anyway, so this is the I'm a Wargamer thing that's going around where you talk about how you got into the hobby and advice for starting a channel. And Mikey from Hellstorm nominated me. And I guess with the reply, and also if you don't reply within 7 days, you die. I've already got some sort of flu again. It's not the thing. Don't worry. It's not the Rona. I don't have that. I tested and I don't have that. It's just some normal flu, which I just get those constantly anyway. And I'm genuinely worried that this could be some Final Destination type stuff. If you don't reply within 7 days, you die. And I was already ill. Clearly, I'm being set up to cark it. And I don't want to. I've got a busy week. It needs to wait a little bit before it hits because I've got too much to do. So that's what we're doing. Responding. I accept your nomination and your challenge. I challenge you to a game, even though we've already talked about this on Twitter. But it's fine. I'm doing it officially. It's public on Twitter as well. But whatever. I've got now 2,000 points of Chaos Knights and a Lord of Skulls painted, tabletop ready. Battle ready, if you will, if you want to go all official with it. I will bring them to Hellstorm Wargaming HQ. We will have a game, and the chances are you will win, because I've not had a game of 40k for months and months and months, and I've not had a single game of 9th, and I've never played with the 9th before. So, really, you could argue that I'm setting myself up for failure, but just imagine if I did win, what that would do to you. I'm not a competitive player. I'm not a tournament lad. I'm just an idiot who likes making stupid conversions and making armies out of them, which is all my Chaos Knights are. And if you lost to that, what would that even do to your reputation? You won't lose, it'll be absolutely fine. But it will be a lot of fun, and that's the important thing, and that's all I care about. I'm all about the enjoyment, win or lose, it's all about the taking part. I nearly just spiralled into a word-for-word recreation of a Bill Bailey comedy routine there, but I stopped myself. Anyway, so challenge accepted. Now, the actual thing, the actual meat of the video, so to speak. Only a few minutes in. It's fine. We get there in the end. Getting into the hobby. Well, I got into the hobby because some friends of mine played. That was pretty much it. They talked about 40k a fair bit. They talked about the armies they were building. They had multiple armies each. I think a couple of them had got into it through family members, either extended or I think one of them, their dad played Rogue Trader, and an uncle played as well, and so they were brought into it at a younger age, and I joined in with it pretty much around the launch of 3rd edition, if I remember correctly, and yeah, it was a case of just going, well, this sounds awesome, and getting the response of, well, do you want to give it a go? Do you want to see us play a game? And then if you like it, you can have a blast as well. And yeah, I went and watched a game being played. It looked really, really fun. The dice rolls, the cries of elation, and the absolute piss taking when someone massively failed armor saves was just my kind of thing. And I'm pretty sure that's where the love of kit bashing and converting came from as well. One of the guys had a really cool Space Wolves army that he'd done a lot of personalization on. It was kind of not mind blowing, but it's okay, all these models are really cool. There was some really cool stuff in there. One of them had an Eldar army and a Tyranid army, I think it was. And, the Eldar stuff especially, these kind of, the Wraith Lords, especially, they just look so weird and alien and awesome all at the same time. The Tyranids look like absolute horrors, which you would expect. But the thing that really got me was the Space Wolves army, because I was looking through the codex and looking at the models and going, well, that's that guy, but he's got a different weapon, and he's got a different... the pose is slightly different. There's extra wolf pelt. How'd you do the wolf pelt? Oh, you made it yourself out of green stuff. So you can take all these models and you can make them, you can, build whatever army you want, but you can also make that army look however you like, and you can paint them however you want. okay, this is, yeah, no, that's definitely for me. The first game obviously lost horribly. There was no like that guy stuff going on, but when you have no idea what you're doing, and it's a case of, okay, how about you just borrow this force? It's never gonna go well, but losing horrendously was fun. Like it didn't. At no point was like, oh, this doesn't feel fair. It was just, okay, when something goes well, it's awesome, and if something doesn't go well, it's usually funny. So there is no downside to this. And like the idea of taking all this stuff and deciding on like a theme or an idea and building an army around it was, it just grabbed me. It grabbed me straight away. When I actually bought models for the first time, I went Iron Warriors because the suggestion was, well, okay, you haven't played before, you've not, until recently, you weren't really invested. Space Marines are a pretty decent start. They're a pretty decent way to start the hobby because they're relatively simple to get a good grasp on. Like all of them had started with Space Marines and kind of branched out, and I went with it. And when it was pointed out that you could be Space Marines but with actual like demons leading them, and yeah, and like the ruinous powers and the warp is this place of madness and insanity, and the Chaos Space Marines live there. I was like, what? Like to like, I mean, it was like the launch of third. It was like shortly after third launched, so I must have been like 13, 14. To that sort of age, me, I was 13, 14, 14, 15, something like that. Teenager, basically, low end of teenager. I mean, that just sounded awesome. Like superhuman, evil soldiers who worshipped weird gods. I'm in. I'm 100% in. The fact I went for Iron Warriors is kind of ironic in that respect, really. Now, in terms of starting a YouTube channel, specifically focused around things like 40k, I mean, advice-wise, I don't really know what counts as good advice, because I think I would likely suggest things that I don't do. Trying to stick to a good schedule for releasing videos. So, say you're going to do one every couple of days or every 3 days, which I don't do. I'm very sporadic with how I upload videos, so maybe don't do what I do. Making sounds better than video. That is something. If you're going to start a YouTube channel, get a decent microphone. You don't have to have like some sort of pro setup, some sort of pro audio rig. But for the love of God, at the very least, get a decent condenser microphone. And if you don't want to deal with an audio interface, then get a USB one. That's what this is. This is like, I think it's 100 quid, this mic. And it's decent enough. It's not like pro level stuff, but it's clear, it's easy to use, it's plug and play, you don't have to mess about with it. People will turn off videos if the audio is trash. The audio is way more important than actual visuals. And with a lot of this stuff, unless you're doing like painting tutorials, frankly, people can take or leave the actual video itself. I know for a fact a good number of people don't even watch the actual video itself. They put it on, and then it goes on another tab, and they just listen. That's more important. Like, audio is way more important than video. You need to be prepared to put yourself out there, and accept that people are going to be a bit shit to you occasionally. That's just how it works, unfortunately. It's the internet, and there is a prevailing attitude from some that states that if it's on the internet, it's fine to be the worst person you can be. I don't personally subscribe to that view, but that's just how things are. For the most part, people are nice, but occasionally you'll get someone who isn't. You just got to ignore it and move on and pretend they don't exist, basically. What else? I think that's it, really. You need to make sure that you are okay with being out there and putting things out there that you have worked hard on, and accepting the fact that sometimes the feedback on those things is not going to be good. Constructive criticism is good, and constructive criticism is welcome. Just flat out abuse never is, but you're going to get a fair share of both, most likely. No matter what you say, there will be someone who doesn't like it. It's just a case of how vocal that person is. That being said, there is also a vast number of people who will be supportive and happy to hear what you have to say, and will want to speak to you, and will want to interact with you, and will give you the kind of constructive criticism that will make you better at whatever it is that you're doing. Those are the people that matter, to be totally honest, to be totally blunt. If you want to leave some sort of like criticism on, say, a painting video, and say, the technique is good, the technique is fine, the overall colour scheme is grand, but personally, I feel that colour clashes slightly with that. It could do with being dulled down. That's an acceptable bit of criticism that you can learn from. If someone says, you're shit, you suck, don't ever speak to me again, that person can be ignored. So just try not to let it get to you too much. Also, be prepared for people to think you're confident, even if you're not. Case in point, I'm a nervous wreck, but I'm not talking to anyone. I'm just talking to that, which is a good way to get around that kind of thing if you are anxious or nervous about, putting yourself out there. To start with, just think about the fact you're talking to yourself, not other people. That will change over time, and you'll become more accepting of the actual kind of relationship between you and the people who watch. But it's a good way to get past that first bit, that first hurdle of, do I want to actually, do this? Do I want to try and get past any nerves or anxiety? Just treat it as talking to yourself, and eventually it will build into confidence in what you do. Basically, just fake it until you make it, I think is the main thing for that. So yeah, I think that will just about do it. Mostly, I don't think there's anything else. Oh, nominations! You need to nominate other people, I think. So Snipe and Wib. I'm pretty sure the two of you will have talked at length about how you got into the hobby, but still, I want to hear it again. Tactica Imperialis as well, nominating you. Also, you are now on the block. You're on the clock, and you've got 7 days, or you will pass on. Apparently, I'm not entirely sure that's exactly how it works, but it's fine. It'll be okay. Just if you like, you don't have to. I'm not going to hold you to it. I'm not going to come round your house and force you to make a video. So do what you like. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to click all the things. Patreon video. It'd be lovely if you could subscribe. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games that you can use to support the channel if you would like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.